Welcome, everybody, to Windy City Savage. We are live. I am joined with my co-host. Go ahead, introduce yourself, Mr. Handsome Fella.
What the fuck you talking about?
Even I even got confused there. Let's go.
All right, everybody, I'm Old Man RJ, the oldest man in the game.
All right.
Apparently I'm handsome today.
Apparently, man, I can't see much, so
Right.
everybody looks handsome to me.
Great.
All righty, guys, into the news, and let's start off with Penta El Cero Miedo has finally made his debut on Netflix against Chad Gable himself. If you ask me, they could never have picked a better opponent than Chad Gable. Because, I mean, this guy, you know, the reason why they picked him was because this guy could wrestle any style of any wrestler in any of the rosters right now. Because we all know that Penta does have that lucha background wrestling, right? Yeah. Chad Gable could adapt to that perfectly well. And, I mean, they put up a banger of a match that apparently went a little longer than it should have.
Correct.
And I guess it did have some people in the roster kind of mad. But overall, the officials were happy. They were actually happy that this guy debuted and got a great pop in San Jose. Mm-hmm. I mean, and then he even cut a promo. And we know his English is a little bit broken, but I mean, this guy had the crowd invested still.
Even when he spoke Spanish.
Oh, yeah.
His Spanish promo made a lot more of you felt the passion when he spoke. The thing I like about Penta's match against Chad Gable is that, like Joe Savage just said a while ago, you feel the fact that Chad Gable, as a wrestler, knew how to wrestle around Penta. He knew how to actually adapt to what Penta does.
Right.
In Lucha Libre, you actually wrestle on a different shoulder than what the wrestlers in America do.
Yep.
So you start differently. So you had to actually adjust yourself to them.
You got to adjust yourself to WWE standards of wrestling. Because out of all the promotions, let's be real, they're number one. And they have their own style of wrestling. Mm-hmm. They're a lot different than AEW style, TNA style, New Japan style, AAA style, or any of these other styles. They're pretty much like the standard when it comes to wrestling. So put it this way. For his debut and for him to even adapt to that standard, because I think he did well.
Yeah,
I was surprised. I was like, wow, this guy's really adapting already to the WWE standard.
I wonder if most of that has to do with the fact that he wrestled in Lucha Underground, because a lot of those wrestlers that he competed with were WWE guys. You had Rey Mysterio there. You had John Morrison for a minute.
Well, they did, but Lucha Underground was still like a lucha thing. I think at this point, man, like he was already getting himself into that shape. Yeah. While we were hearing these rumors that the Lucha Brothers were going to eventually jump to WWE. And unfortunately, one of his brothers hasn't yet jumped over, but we'll talk about that in a bit. But I feel like he was already training for his debut a while back. And I mean, the guy is gifted.
Yeah.
The guy's in his 40s, I want to say, though. So he doesn't have that much time left. So he's going to have to wind it down. And I mean, WWE is a great spot to wind down completely when it comes to your career, because you're going to get a good paycheck. You're going to get good, noticeable fans invested in you. You're going to sell some fucking merch. And they released this mask out there, and apparently it sold very well.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm trying to get one of mine, but so I'm hoping over here, but we'll see about that. But overall, though, I mean, the place to really want to retire.
The crazy part is that Jim Ross, actually, they spoke to him about it, and Jim Ross is like, we had him here for a while, and he's like, I'm surprised about his debut. I'm surprised about the fan reaction he got of how he solidified himself in the WWE. Where he already looks like he's a main event star.
He's already feeling like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, in Jim Ross's words, it's like, what, where did we go wrong? Where now we're looking at him here, and Penta is getting talked about more here than he was back here with us.
Mm-hmm. With AEW. Yeah. And that tells you how bad Tony Khan has dropped the ball. And how about we just dig into combine this with the next topic we have today. And that is AEW stars soon to leave the promotion. And I got 4 guys for you. So 1, Miro. I think when his contract expires, I think he's going to go back to WWE. And we all know Miro is Rusev, right? Where has he been in AEW TV? I have not seen him in any part of AEW, even Ring of Honor.
Mhm.
So I don't know where he's at right now. I really don't. The last time I remember seeing him was sometime. I don't know. Like I'm still trying to figure it out.
Well,
And he
let's
didn't
be-
even do anything much.
Let's be honest. He was
Yeah.
going through a lot of family struggles. He divorced his wife.
Yeah.
Him and a lot of divorce. So that during that time period, you're right. He wasn't seen on AEW TV.
But I think eventually he tweeted out that when am I going to get back into TV?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like there's no one has let me know what's my next role next. When am I coming out? No one has said anything to me, and I've been sitting here playing video games waiting.
And he's been being pretty good at those video games lately. So yeah, it's a lot of time. And there's another one, obviously. The brother of Penta, Ray Phoenix, has been locked into his contract due to injury time added to his contract at this point because he was injured for a couple of times during the AEW run. So he can't join, unfortunately, his brother. But when he will, it's only a matter of time. Apparently, that's going to be somewhere by the end of the year. But there goes another guy that's not even being used right now on TV. And I get it. You know, he's going to jump the shift. That's a given. But why not get this guy buried, I guess? I mean, in my eyes, as a booker, this guy is talented. Ray Phoenix is talented. Ray Phoenix. Okay, so when it comes to charisma, I'll give it a Penta. Natural charisma. Ray Phoenix, though, when it comes to wrestling, that guy's on another level.
Energy is like up here.
Yeah, dude, that guy is like, to me, he's one of the best luchadores at our era right now. But why don't you use him? Bury him. And I don't like doing that, but at this point, use him. Do something with him. You know what I mean? He's gonna leave. Still, use him. It's like Ricochet. We all knew he was gonna leave WWE. They still used him. And guess what? They buried him.
Right.
Ron Breaker broke him.
Yep.
And that was the last time you saw Ricochet on WWE TV.
Right.
Makes sense. But then again, Tony Khan is petty like that.
Mm-hmm.
Let me name you another guy, and that is Absolute Ricky Stark. And that guy, by the way, I saw that guy wrestle yesterday at in Chicago. What was it called? The Hall of Fame, Glory Wrestling. I forgot the promotion thing, but he was out there. And the fans were chanting, "Fuck Tony Khan." And that is kind of funny. But then also after the match, Santana, who he's wrestling against, even cut a promo saying, and Santana's not part of AEW anymore. He's actually in TNA. So, and he's pretty much a free agent going wherever he wants to go, which is nice for him. And so he even said that, I don't know when this guy's, going to get out of his contract or reappear, but when he does, I guarantee you this guy is going to be the biggest guy in wrestling. And I agree. Because we all know he's probably going to go to WWE because he's good friends with Cody Rhodes. Whether he goes to NXT or I personally think he's ready for the roster. I think he's ready for SmackDown. The guy is very charismatic. He's very talented. He has the it factor. Give him the microphone and he's going to cut hell of a good promos. Hell, give him a heel run against Cody Rhodes. That's gonna sell some fucking tickets.
Is that the little short, skinny guy, little dark skin a little bit? With black hair, kind of slick back a little bit.
Yeah.
He had that promo. What was it, MJF?
It was against MJF, and then it was also against Chris Jericho that he had some good promos against.
Yeah.
CM Punk as
There you
well.
go. That one with CM Punk. They were
Yeah.
beefing back and forth, and they had somebody in front of him or something like that or whatever.
Well, whoever he beats against, it's always
It's
gold.
not. It's actually lights up. I
Yep.
agree.
And
Yep.
and honestly, that was your guy in AEW.
Mhm.
That could have been a homegrown talent. Once again, something happened backstage. He made some comments about Cody Rhodes, and he also supported him. We saw him at WrestleMania,
Mhm.
and maybe that rubbed Tony Khan in the bad way. And again, Tony Khan was petty, and we're not seeing him on TV right now. And he's
Right.
under contract.
Right.
Doesn't make sense. This guy is one of your best talents right now on the roster. So gifted. He's not injured. I can tell you he's not injured because he wrestled great last night.
No.
But it's just something to it, man, that this guy is kind of being petty. And I'm going to throw you one last name out there, and this is recent, Malachi Black.
Yeah.
It's already been said that he is going to leave, and he is going back to WWE.
Nice.
And if you watch Dynamite recently, they hinted to the rest of the guys, Buddy and Brody King, that you don't need to follow a leader. You guys are great on your own. And this was before the rumors, actually. So I kind of think that's already been done and confirmed.
Yeah.
That he's actually is leaving. And now we're not going to see him until his contract expires. But once again, you know, there's something going on in the promotion that these guys already seen the light and said, we made a mistake. We want to go back to WWE. And they left. Okay, so put it this way. I'll give them benefit of doubt. They left when the old man was there.
Correct.
Not this old man, but the other old man.
That old man came rolling home. That's what it was.
Yeah, when the old man finally got out of the business, they decided to leave. And now that they see their man, Triple H,
that's right,
running the company, the guy that actually put a lot of money and effort, especially Malachi Black.
Correct.
Because when he was Aleister Black, Aleister Black. Yeah, sorry, I kind of muffled there. Aleister Black in NXT, he was billed as a fucking superstar, man. This guy was big.
He
this
looked
guy
like losing and taking the next mantle for Undertaker. Just the fact that what he believed in, his entrance was dark, mythic in that sense.
Yeah, that Vampire Rise.
And Vampire Rise. Oh, that intro was awesome.
Yeah.
Especially in the NXT when he came to the main event, that one, when I think won the title too.
Yep.
He did that part or whatever, and it was purple. I think as well. Black and purple with the smoke and all that stuff. Phenomenal.
He had that aura about
exactly.
Him. And then obviously he did jump to the main roster, and unfortunately, Vince McMahon didn't know what to do with him. And there was points where you would see this guy in the janitor's closet saying, "Somebody fight me!" You know what I mean? Some dumb shit, you know. And I could understand why he wanted to leave.
Yep.
And I guess in my eyes, he did the right choice at the time.
Yes.
But when he jumped promotion, he went against Cody Rhodes, the top guy in AEW, and you thought, damn, finally we're gonna see, you know, Aleister Black or Malachi Black, whatever you want to know him as, finally get his fame. He had his little feud, and then all of a sudden he gets stuck into this tag team division. And I think there's a statistic out there, out of the whole time he was in AEW, he only had like 10 singles matches.
Mm-hmm. And a few of those were probably against Edge.
Yeah, or Adam Cole.
Adam Cole, sorry.
Yeah.
Well,
Adam Cole.
That's kind of what I said before. If I'm not mistaken, we had this conversation back in the days when everybody was jumping ship and stuff. It was the same aura. It's like Tony Khan hires these guys. They go on for a nice little beginning run. They get some titles around their belts and stuff around their waist area. They sit there and have good feuds, you know, in the beginning. But what have we seen lately?
Yeah.
The longevity of their run has been very dull, or at this point, really missable. Really missable. So it's very difficult to kind of say that, yeah, you're right. Right decision at the right moment. Right now it's okay, now it's time to go back because it's time. TNA, WWE have that new deal. You got that crossover stuff, opportunities to go all for it. Why not?
2 cents on you, bro. Out of all 4 of them, what do you think? You know,
I know Roderick Strong a little bit, not too much, not clear about him as you know him or 20 Kid knows him. But of course, I knew Miro, who when I was out there, I knew him as Rusev, and Rusev Day was a big thing in WWE.
Correct.
He was selling merch like crazy. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, all these guys left because they were tired of being an undercard, and they got better pay.
Yeah, they did.
But sometimes better pay doesn't give you better match or TV time.
Or TV at all.
And that means that, you know, you might be getting paid a few good cans of beer, but, dude, if you're not selling merch, you're not going to make much. Mm-hmm. Your merch sells a lot. Mm-hmm. Sells you a lot.
But you also, good point, because one thing is that once your contract's done and you haven't been on TV for a while and all this stuff, they're going to say, well, you haven't been on TV, you haven't sold merch, we're going to give you a lower contract now.
Yeah.
Because nobody knows it.
And the sad part is, it's not that they haven't been on TV, it's they weren't giving them the chance to be on TV.
Yeah.
So now these guys like Wendy Savage said a while ago, it makes sense for them to go back because Triple H is in charge.
Yeah.
It's a new era of wrestling. You don't even have to go to WWE. You could go to TNA. You could go to TNA, build your name there, and still pop up in WWE.
There you go.
And get that reaction. And the funny thing is that if you go to WWE or TNA, with WWE and TNA having a partnership, you could be Rusev in TNA.
Yep.
You could be Aleister Black in TNA.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine the matches that you could have there, and then just come here and perform over here too.
Well, I don't know if that's, and not to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
I don't know if
It's your
that's
show.
necessarily true that they have their rights to they'll be given their rights. Because the thing is, we all know Nick Nemeth as Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
And he's in TNA, but he's still Nick Nemeth. JBL, when he actually showed up in TNA, he showed up, I think, as John Layfield or John something.
It wasn't Bradshaw either.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah.
I think it was. That's Layfield. That's Layfield. Like I kept hearing the last thing. That's Layfield, but you never hear JBL, whatever case to be, nothing like that. Yep.
So I don't know how that. I don't think so. Okay, we're gonna get this into this actually next topic, but I don't know how much they're given rights to. I know it's a good partnership for talents to cross promotions, but I don't know how much actual rights they're given to.
Mm-hmm.
But I get your point, though.
No, that's what I'm thinking, because back then they didn't have that official lineup yet.
Yeah.
Right.
So I feel now that they probably did a contract signing of, we're partnering up. I feel like that partnership is actually opening the door for them to actually go into either brand with the name that they were popular with.
Right. That deal can say now at this point, hey, we're cool with the name. You can have it now because the merch, we get a percentage, you get a percentage. We all win together. So
and
it's a possibility.
And that's so here's the thing, man. That's the unfortunate part with AEW is that Tony Khan needs to learn already. He has great, and even though these guys are leaving, he still has one of the most talented roster when it comes to men and women. They're still there. That division is stacked. The issue is he needs to learn how to use them. He needs to write better storylines. He needs to get somewhere, because eventually these guys are going to get tired and they're like, well, we're not getting anywhere. We're just going to leave.
Sadly, Tony Khan reminds me of Andy of Toy Story.
He
had that Woody, and then Woody got boring. He picked up Buzz Lightyear.
Yep. And then Best Buzz, then all of a sudden, both are to the side.
Yeah.
And then now he has a puppy, and that's the thing that's happening to Tony Khan is he has so many toys to play with, but you're just getting bored of each one.
Yeah.
Britt Baker's been telling already out there the thing that she's actually getting bored because she has nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She's like, I'm one of the greatest women wrestlers out here, and I'm not even being booked.
Yep.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of backstage issues and backstage fights and backstage problems that we're not hearing about. A lot of NDA signings. Like, a lot of we can't really tell you. Yeah. Like we can't tell you because we signed something. A lot of NDAs, basically another Vince McMahon, but probably not in that extent.
No, right. Not that extent, but at least what we're kind of noticing and what's been the trend is there's some beef, but keep it down. Let's keep it low profile at this point right now.
Right.
That's all it is. And whatever the publicist is or whoever the people are, they're finding ways to kind of just highlight other stuff at this point. Do some other things.
Yeah. And I mean, out of all those four, we already know it's a matter of time when they're going to leave for sure. And it looks like all those guys are probably heading back there. The only guy I might see, maybe not, is Miro. Mm-hmm. But for the rest of the three, for sure. Yeah. I think they are going to head out there.
Aleister Black, I think, will be more. I think he's going to benefit the most out of all this.
Well, his wife is in that company.
Yeah. I was actually going to say, I think Ricky Starks will. Because I think the guy is really
Ricky
young.
Stark. I said Roderick Strong. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Second best. As far as I agree with you on that part, he'll be my second for sure. Because for Ricky Stark, he's going to have a nice little promotion back and forth between him. I'm not going to lie. I would like to see him, Austin Theory, go at it.
That's what
I think Austin Theory needs somebody in that caliber to kind of like back and forth with Mike's skills, right? For foremost, but also too, they have the type of swagger to beef with each other.
Yeah, I personally, the reason why I would pick Ricky Stark out of all of them, the guy has one of the best mic works in the business. It's really underrated. And I don't know why Tony Khan doesn't see this. He's basically, you have another MJF just as good as him right there, and he could wrestle. Mm-hmm. So it's like, what is he not seeing in him? And WWE's going to see that, and it's definitely going to hit a home run with him once he debuts.
That's probably what he's been saying to him, too, on the side. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, hey, man, come on over here. We got you.
I mean, we'll do you right. Dude, if you think about it, the way they handles Penta's debut on Netflix is saying, look, when you guys are done over there, plain fantasy, come to the real big boys. We'll handle you right.
And
Come out of the G League and come over here with us.
And the funny thing, they messed up the storyline because Penta was supposed to be a secret opponent for Gable.
Right.
But early in that same morning, you got WWE Shop already showing Penta's clothing.
I don't think that was. I know what you're saying. I don't think that was a spoiler. At that point, I think WWE's like everybody fucking knows.
Yeah,
Fuck it.
that's
Well,
why.
as soon as you did the 0 with the cross line, everyone knew what that cross out 0 meant.
That's why I'm like, whoever wrote that story should have thought, you know what? Instead of saying I have an opponent, secret opponent for you, you should have just said, hey, I have an opponent, and he's debuting next week, and we're just gonna keep it quiet until he shows up,
But
or something, or Penta, or it could have said Cero Miedo.
and I get it from the old perspective of
Yeah.
kayfabe. Is the issue is just you're on the internet age now, and nothing's
Everyone
a secret.
knows
That's hard to do right now at this point.
And then and I get it, but if you think about it, you're at San Jose, a big Hispanic populated city. You're gonna bring out a shitload of Hispanics out there, and we're all gonna fucking pop for Penta, because like when he was in AEW with the Lucha Brothers, I'll tell you this: there was a great amount of Hispanics at those AEW shows, and when Penta came out, everybody fucking popped for that guy. Everybody did the Cero Miedo. And this is how over this guy was in AEW, and this is how bad they dropped the ball. And this guy in Lucha Underground had a great single run. So WWE's gonna do it right, and they're gonna hit a home run with this guy, because guess what? They struck gold.
Yep.
And the guy's gonna sell a ton of merch with this mask. And when his brother comes along, whether they tag team him or not, I guarantee you his brother's gonna be in that conversation of selling merch as well. And once they see him wrestle, they're gonna be like, man, these guys are great.
That's the company that, man, I wish that company would have stayed, or whoever, because they were on different programs before. Lucha Underground, I'm talking about.
Well, mostly we're on Netflix. I know there were another one, but
They were
mostly
on Spike TV for a minute.
something like that. Yeah.
Mhm.
And Spike TV, I think they changed their channel, their time every time. Like they kept changing the hour they would be on. And it's like, why are you sabotaging this show that people are watching? Like, look at the fact that Lucha Underground had 3 seasons, I believe.
Yeah, I want to say.
And people are still talking about Lucha Underground to the point where even looking at Penta versus now Chelsea Green, they're showing the video done to wrestling each other.
Kai too, right?
Yeah.
So those matches themselves were I didn't see that until the highlights come up, but I did see them back then.
Yeah.
It just reminded me and said, "Holy crap, they had a match together." I forgot about that.
And look at
you
that
look
match.
at the match; it's like they went at it with each other, like as if they're in the same gender, in the same thing. Like that's the crazy part.
Well, I mean, they built so many stars. They had Swerve Strickland under a different name. They had Ricochet under a different name. They had
Prince Puma, you remember that?
Prince Puma.
Yeah, they had so many guys out there. It was crazy.
Johnny Mundo was the big thing in Lucha Underground.
Mhm.
They had the Luchasaurus. They had Rey Mysterio. I mean, it just like the list goes on. It's crazy. And yeah, it's one of those promotions that it was sad to see it go,
Right.
but it made an impact.
Yep.
And that's just unfortunate. That's what just happens with smaller promotions sometimes. They probably weren't funded enough
Right.
compared to the Cons, compared to the Dixie Carters with
Mhm.
TNA back then.
Mhm.
Ted Turner, too, at his time with WCW, they didn't have those deep pockets. And it's not easy to actually run an organization, a wrestling organization.
Right.
So it's unfortunate, but it did make an impact. But another impact that we recently heard was the merger, the deal agreement between WWE and TNA.
Yeah.
When it comes to striking a deal, I guess multiple years now. So
Extended it.
Extended.
They were already contracted prior to, right?
Yeah.
It's big extension. It's a
for
big
multiple
extension.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if this is going to really set the tone that I think it's going to be more of NXT and TNA, their stars able to jump shifts. So put it this way, that could mean that either certain stars may actually join WWE or they'll just stay in TNA, able to do their own thing, go to any promotion, and then show up to WWE whenever they want.
Mhm.
So that means necessarily Joe Henry may not just jump ship. Jordan Grace may not jump ship, but they could appear at WWE anytime they want, and WWE would be happy to have them.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Watch a Joe Henry on SmackDown.
Imagine the pop he's gonna get if he shows up to Royal Rumble.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jordan Grace definitely needs to go to that.
The one thing I like is that some of those wrestlers end up in a W2K video game.
That
Joe Henry.
DLC pack.
Well, that's the thing. They're gonna have to strike some sort of another deal, and that would be great if the wrestler itself could get some sort of royalty to it. That's a little difficult, but it would be nice. It would be nice, though. I'm not gonna lie.
With this being done, I mean, with the Hardys being in TNA right now, does that mean that still opens the door for WWE to be able to induct the Hardys into the Hall of Fame?
Well, that's gonna be a given deal because I don't think you remember, but a while back they wanted Ric Flair. I think
and they did a deal where they sent Christian to TNA.
Out of all the people Dixie Carter could have even chose, except for The Undertaker and John Cena to appear, she picked Christian Cage.
Yeah, they I think they said you could use anyone but John Cena and Undertaker. Yeah. You had Triple H you could have used. You had
Bobby
Lashley, Batista, I think.
Yeah, Randy Orton,
Mick Foley. You could have had anyone, and all she did is have Christian show up to do a promo
because she liked Christian.
Yeah. That's all you did. Christian shows up. Hey, everybody, how's it going? I'm Christian. All right, y'all have a good night. Bye.
Yeah. and what I heard, he was angry that he had to be there.
Yeah, because he wasn't happy with the last run he had with them.
Yeah, which was funny. But at the end of the day, regardless, though, I really think this is good. I think this is great. I think it gives hope for like TNA stars to be like, man, now it's our time to enter the big leagues eventually. Get their footstep inside of the ring big times.
Right.
Any thoughts on this?
Well, this is actually good because most of these wrestlers, it reminds me back in the day, I mentioned it earlier on the Reach of Rundown.
Yeah.
Back in the day, WWE had a partnership with ECW where ECW wrestlers, like you had Rob Van Dam showing up, appearing on both shows. You had not the Dudley Boys, but you had several wrestlers that were from ECW branded that showed up for a while.
Yeah.
And that was the thing that made WWE and ECW like expand to the point where we knew who these guys were.
Right.
Now you had the same thing with TNA, but the thing about TNA is you can also probably bring in, I know Jordan Grace said that she'd like to have Destination X at a WrestleMania match.
So, see, that's the thing that makes me think that maybe, I don't think they're going to jump shift some of these wrestlers. They might just stay there.
I think they're going to stay there because now they don't have to worry about being.
No.
I mean, Jordan Grace can actually be in a WrestleMania match without being at a WWE roster.
Yeah.
And they're going to want to use her because of how popular she is.
There's one wrestler that made her debut finally in a big promotion that this is one of those things where WWE is watching her and they're using TNA kind of as the watching point. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but it's Tessa Blanchard.
Yeah, we just mentioned her too.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And they're using TNA kind of as in like, let's see if she could behave well and not start some stuff. Because we know she's a lot of controversy and she may still be. So if things go well, I mean, look, despite her, whatever she said in the past, and I don't agree with none of it, but she's still a good wrestler.
What'd you say?
I don't want to go into detail. There's a lot of racist stuff that she said.
Okay.
Yeah, really bad. And
yeah,
it was a lot of bully harassment type of stuff that she did. It got really
someone
bad.
Else?
Yeah, to multiple wrestlers.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically she got outcasted by every promotion for the longest. Okay. And she's still young, by the way. She's not even that old. I don't think she's even in her, I think she's barely in her 30s.
Yeah, I think she is.
Yeah. So, but she's talented. She really is.
Well, she's considered as probably one of the greatest women in wrestling right now.
Probably. I mean, I wouldn't deny it. If someone told me that and gave me a reason why, I would have a hard time, fighting it. But they're using this kind of as in, if she behaves well here.
29.
Maybe, yeah, there we go, 29. Maybe we'll have her here eventually, and maybe we could have the bigger matches with better wrestlers.
Yeah.
But if she starts misbehaving, toss her out.
It's going to be back into the indie scene again.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, this is something good to look forward to the forward years, especially for TNA's run. That way they could have some sort of also wrestlers wrestle on their promotions to help them out a little bit, Well,
I know Joe Henry called out John Cena, so it'd be crazy if he actually showed up on the TNA ring.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
Yeah, I highly doubt it, though. That'll be some shit, but I highly doubt it. I would actually think that AJ Styles would make more likely a return to TNA than it would for anybody else. I know he was at a show one time, and I guess they were talking that he was supposed to appear, but WWE last minute said we can't do it right now. Cut it out, Like, and I don't know if that was a bad thing or just they didn't want to ruin something maybe they had planned for him eventually. But it was supposedly a given that he was actually supposed to come out and just cut a promo, which would have been kind of cool to see. Yeah. I don't know. I'm excited for it. I can't wait to see what happens. Obviously, we're going to see some TNA wrestlers in the Royal Rumble this year. So, something to look forward to.
What about that cross brand pay-per-view they're talking about? NXT and TNA. There's a rumor that they might have a pay-per-view with each other.
I don't know, man. If it's a rumor right now, we don't know, where the source is coming from. So we don't know exactly if it's true or not. But I mean, with this happening, I wouldn't doubt to see it sometime in the future. Yep. It could happen, and it wouldn't be a bad thing.
Their version of War Games.
It could be, or it could just be War Games.
In general,
it could just be War Games, and now TNA versus NXT. Simple. Yeah. There you go, WWE. There goes your pay-per-view.
Yep.
Pay me.
What I'm going to see is Joe Hendry and John Cena Royal Rumble face off.
That would be cool. I feel like Joe Henry. The only thing is, I'm hoping that TNA wrestlers do show up in the Rumble, that they at least eliminate people.
Yeah. So the next topic, guys, this is gonna be a funny one. So Hulk Hogan, you saw his reaction on Netflix, and it's more of an opinion, I guess. It's just like, what do you guys think?
I think it was a bad move by WWE to try to throw him out there. I think WWE thought that the heat was gone. They thought, you know what, it's Hulk Hogan. People are gonna forget. No, O'Shea Jackson, Ice Cube's son said, I was there. He's like, I was there and we let him have it. Mm-hmm. And he said the funny thing, you could hear it, the reaction. Yep. So the minute you hear the song start playing, he said that everyone's like, oh, and then they're like, oh, wait.
We remember.
He's like, and it's because it's not the fact that he still tries to play it off like it never happened. He tries to not forget, he doesn't try to apologize the proper way. Yeah. So, and in the video, he just kept going and going with his rant and racist word after racist word. So
it was like I don't remember years ago when they brought him back and they told him, all right, we're gonna bring you back, but you got to go into the locker room and apologize to everyone.
He said no,
and then he did it. He did it actually, but it was the New Day that didn't accept his apology. I don't know if you remember that. And when they asked him, well, why not? He said, if you listen to him, it didn't sound like he was apologizing. He was just kind of telling us, be careful what you say, because you never know when there's a microphone or camera around.
Hey, brothers, just be careful when you're talking on the mic.
You never know nowadays, brothers.
They might have a secret camera.
And they're recording you, brother. Okay? So watch out for that. Eat your vitamins, say your prayers. I'm out. You know what I mean?
The crazy thing is that it was his friend, a guy who he considered his best friend.
Bubba with a love sponge.
Yeah.
And his hot wife.
Mm-hmm.
No, but put it this way. Okay, so who knows why they booed him? It could have been the racist remark. It could have been politics, which would be odd because then Undertaker came out that same day.
Well, not just Undertaker. Look at the fact that Triple H is also a Trump person.
Yep.
Stephanie McMahon is a Trump person.
The whole WWE is.
Right? Yeah. It's like the whole locker room. The whole locker room. Everyone loved Trump when he was there. Some of the people that are still freshly new in a sense, whatever. But when they've seen him and meet him, they have no ill words to say against him. So it's like, why wouldn't you be okay with him per se? Not saying be political views outside the picture. They may not agree to all that standard, but person-wise, they met him, shook his hand, said hello, had time to talk, chat. People respected. Look at Cassius. Who was it? Clay, the big guy who left a while ago. He was a little goofy guy.
Yeah, Brodus
Clay.
Yeah, Brodus Clay.
Brodus Clay did an interview with Trump, but he said himself, I had my own perception of him at first. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, when I meet the guy face to face, generally, whole different freaking person. I don't know what the heck people are saying.
Well, because Trump, and I'm going to put it this way, in politics and even off of politics on the TV, Trump's always been known to be a character.
Correct.
That's what you see. All you see, the guy knows how to act. He knows how to sell. I mean, he's a wrestling fan. He's throwing promos and people are eating it. That's why I'm like, if you look at it, he grew up being a wrestling fan. WrestleMania 8 and 9, I believe it was, right?
He was
Were
there.
both at Trump's Plaza. So that's why I'm like, people are believing all these things this guy says, and it's because he knows how to throw wrestling promo on you.
Well, put it this way, though. I mean, the point I'm trying to make, and I get that. The point I guess I'm trying to make is that, I mean, personally, I don't like Hulk Hogan as a person.
No, he never liked Hogan.
Nah, and I would always go against, because I was reading the internet. I would always hear how he would politics his way from back in the day, and I just didn't like that shit. But I guess, do you think it was rightfully deserved the reaction?
And the worst part, I think it was more deserved when he started trying to like
Explain himself.
No, when he was getting booed, and then he tried to use names like Macho Man or Andre to save himself.
Yeah,
it's where like he wasn't using them at the beginning of it, but now he's getting booed and he like panicked. He's like, "But listen at the great tag teams," and he never teamed up with Andre. I don't believe that, but he's like, "Look at the teams that I was with. I teamed up with Macho Man. I teamed up with Andre." And everyone's like, "Boo! More boo!" It's like honestly,
no one believes him any longer.
Oh, because lucky for us, and the truth is that Dark Side of the Ring exposed the man completely.
Yep.
well, everybody exposed him before then.
Even
Right, everyone talking smack. You saw it in person when he faced against Shawn Michaels. You saw it in person when you had him go with the Kevin Nash situation. You saw it in person when he had that main event over there, changed the main event against on Sting when he decided not to give him the title, lose it to him during that time frame. You saw all these incidents.
Right.
But yet he's trying to explain to us, if I could, I would.
Right.
But you had creative control. You could have. So
and you did.
Everyone else said it was his decision, his last minute decision. He chose to do this instead.
Yeah.
Look at the long-lasting moments where NWO almost didn't happen because of him.
Right.
They're gonna go with Sting because he didn't want to do it.
Well, actually, so put it this way: it's actually never supposed to be him. It was actually supposed to just be Sting the whole time, but I guess they pitched it to him just to see what he said, and he said, "Nah." But then later he thought about it, he's like, "I kind of want to do it." So it was always going to be originally Sting. That's what Bischoff said, years ago. Actually, it's always going to be Sting, but Hogan was asked just for that whole like, "What if?" and it worked. But I get it. And I guess to me, it's like this. In the end of the day, despite him being an asshole, right, behind the scenes, I can't discredit the man's work. Yeah. And I'm going to put it this way, and I'm going to say it. Like I said, to me, he's the MJ wrestler. He's going to be the MJ wrestling because, I mean, there's never going to be a wrestler that dominated 2 decades, 80s and the 90s. He was a great face in the 80s, and he was the greatest heel of the 90s.
That is fact.
And they'll never, you can never discredit that ever, and all the accomplishments and everything he did, despite what he did backstage, you still got to give it to the man. Mm-hmm. Now, if that was any other city, I still think he would have got a little bit better pop.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't think he would have got booed at that.
No, had it been in his hometown or in Florida or something like that,
Texas,
right? More than likely, he would have got cheered for sure.
Yeah, and I think it had to do a little bit for the state and all that, but I'm not getting into politics.
Right.
Yeah, but I just think that at this point, yes, it was a bad decision. And unfortunately, WWE has signed some sort of deal with the American beer that he sells. I think that's what it's called.
Real American beer.
So but that's the thing. It's like you signed a deal, but you can't bring this guy out. It's hard.
Exactly. You got to find a spokesperson now.
Well, not only that, but there's also his promos that he's been doing for Saturday night's main events now. I think that there was plans of him bringing him out for Saturday night's main event because he was doing promos and commercials. Now, would that happen now due to this reaction? I don't know. I mean,
I wouldn't do it if I was WWE at this point. Keep him far away for now. Unless you try to change him up to Hollywood Hulk Hogan, possibly.
But even then, it just seems cringy.
Yeah.
It's just because it's past due, man.
He's over here like, yeah.
Yeah, well, put it this way, man. It's just like he had his time in the sun. And it's just like, okay, I get it, man. You got to sell, you got to make some money. But it's just the wrestling thing is not going to work for you, brother. And unfortunately, it was sad to see Jimmy Hart get booed.
I was about to bring that up. I'm like, I've been trying to say that for a minute. I was like, and So unfortunately, Jimmy Hart is the one that received it all, and there's that little joke going on where Hogan's like, "Are they booing me?" And Jimmy Hart's like, "No, they're saying boo Hogan."
Well, I was
Boo
gonna
Hogan.
say the joke more of a man, Jimmy, you got a lot of heat out here. It is
Oh,
funny
yeah.
though. It's funny.
There's a joke going around that Hulk Hogan, like at the end, it's a joke. So Hogan walks back, he's like, "Yo, Jimmy, you got a lot of heat over here. They were booing you pretty loud."
Yeah. Well, to me, the biggest, I don't know, my biggest reaction was Jimmy. He looks great. He's older than Hogan by like 10 years. Guy
Is he
looks
like in his 80s?
yeah,
81, I think.
and that guy don't look like he's ever aged.
No.
No, the guy, I don't know what the hell he drinks, but keep on drinking it, man. You done well for yourself, Jimmy Hart. Smart guy, really was.
It didn't look phased because
81.
he's
Well-
been a heel.
Well,
and
he
he's been
did
a face.
actually.
He
No,
did?
no. Because if you saw his reaction, he came out, he was happy, and then he realized, okay, well, this wasn't going well, or never were fucked
Yep.
here. His reaction turned
No,
really
I didn't
bad.
realize that.
Yeah, he looked at everybody. He's like, he changed. He stopped smiling for a bit. He's like, well, we got booed, you know. But yeah, man. I mean, it's unfortunate. I don't think he should appear in WWE. It's like Vince.
Yeah.
They're gone. Leave them out. You know, push them out already. Unfortunately, your time is up, man. You just it's not there anymore.
The John Cena theme song right there. Your time is up.
Yeah.
Yep, time is done. Time is down. You can't
Get
go
outta
with
here.
that.
Yeah, so it's unfortunate, man. But it is what it is. So another topic what we have here. We have two guys retiring this year, right?
In WWE?
No,
Or
not
wrestling in
WWE.
general?
Wrestling in general. We got John Cena, and we got another guy named Double J.
Jeff Jarrett's retiring?
This is his last year.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, supposedly. You know, I don't know if he's actually retiring, but for sure it's the last year, I guess, wrestling.
Oh.
Yeah. So I don't know if you noticed, but it's kind of like a carbon copy of each other, you know?
Well, that's the thing. I feel like, I'll put it this way. John Cena's retiring. John Cena actually announced it way back in the day that, hey, this is my last rodeo.
Yeah.
I feel like I always see it from AEW that when somebody's having the last rodeo or anything big,
Yeah.
AEW tries to copy the big thing that they're doing.
Yeah.
Storyline wise, you sometimes see the same story going on.
Well, he's chasing after AEW's world title.
And John Cena's doing the same thing.
But I mean, does anybody really want to see Jeff Jarrett capture gold?
No. And everybody wants John Cena to break Ric Flair's 16-time record.
But I will give Jeff Jarrett credit. I actually like Jeff Jarrett now.
He's cool.
Yeah, he's actually a lot better. Now, when you were watching him in TNA, was he like the guy who would have the golden shovel and bury everybody? Yeah. But when you look at it in retrospect, it was necessary. You
Plus,
needed
he
a
was
heel.
the heel.
Yeah.
He had to be the heel and the asshole of that division for everyone who knew who came in
Yeah,
to try to dethrone him.
exactly.
So, that was his niche, and he did phenomenal at that part. Yes,
Yeah.
he did great.
And honestly, dude, for his age, he's in great shape.
Uh-huh.
That guy is all muscled up, surprisingly. But yeah, no, it's just kind of interesting. I don't know if you saw that. And he's having this final tour right now. He's beefing with MGF. I mean, if okay, let's put it this way, just between all of us. Do you think both men are gonna get their titles? Or do you think Cena's gonna get his title? And do you think Jeff Jarrett will get
I
his
don't
title?
think Cena's going to win this. I think Cena's going to lose because of the fact that he respects the brand so much.
I could
Right.
see that.
And Cena has always said he doesn't want to break Ric Flair's record.
No, and I could
Right.
see
So
that.
I feel like what Cena's going to do is Cody Rhodes is the face of the company. You couldn't, and I'm going to say the truth, you couldn't give Roman the face.
Right.
You tried to give him the torch, but people just didn't want it.
Right.
Even now that he's, he finally got the fans to cheer him on, it won't be long until people get tired of him.
Right.
But Cody Rhodes, he is that guy with charisma. He's that guy that puts on good matches.
Yep.
It won't. I think that's what Cena's doing is I'm only here to give the torch to Cody.
Right.
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 So I feel like that's what Cena's gonna do. But after he loses to Cody at Mania, he's gonna have a few more matches, a few more people here and there.
Yep.
Just to like give people like an actual good farewell tour.
And mainly the ones that he hasn't fought before and stuff.
Probably Drew McIntyre would be a good one.
I can see that.
Yeah, and I think for Jeff Jarrett's sake, he's gonna have similar run to that. Right now, he's feuding with MJF, and it's been okay for the most part. But I don't know if he. I think Jarrett may actually win the title. I don't
feel
know
like-
why.
No,
Because,
yeah. If the AEW side of things, I can see him winning over there.
I feel like Jeff Jarrett's gonna get that same send off that Sting got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same little like
And-
they're gonna show his old.
And give credit where credit's due. That was a proper send off for Sting, even though Sting went against it.
Right.
It was still proper, but you can't redo this every single time you have a wrestler want to retire. What if Dustin Rhodes wants to retire?
Right.
You can't just do that for him either, you know?
No. Jericho.
It doesn't always gonna work that way. And it's nice to have these guys their proper send off, win their title, go home big. It was a nice moment for Sting. It really was. I think it's one of the best retirement matches ever.
I feel like Sting deserved
Well
it
deserved.
because
Yeah.
of what they did to him in WWE.
Exactly.
So I feel like the proper way for him was to walk out with a big win.
Yeah.
Big and the icon, just so
Yeah.
you can remember them. But it's just not gonna. You're not gonna hit gold twice, man. It's just
No.
like, okay, understand. It does not gonna happen. Sometimes you have to see the hero lose.
It is not
Yeah.
really. It's also too not to compare both careers per se, perspective wise.
Yeah.
It's just the material that you have within the career of that person in general.
Right.
Yes, Jeff Jarrett had a longevity type of career. He had great moments in each division. WWE being when he was
Intercontinental
WWE at the
champion.
time, Intercontinental champion, had a great feuds and stuff like that. But a lot of the chair
WCW.
shots, Deborah, you know what I mean? Helmet,
Yeah.
all that stuff. Goes to TNA,
Slap nuts.
all that stuff, right? Like he's had his
I'm
moments
pissed
in
off.
time, but you can't.
Don't piss me off.
It's respective in the wrestling world. He's respected also.
He is
too.
actually. Yep.
So at this point right now, the only way that you can actually do is just have a nice, solid match for him. Definitely, I would say homage-wise, definitely bring out the guitar. He has to hit somebody with it, and then call it a day.
I would say give him his title run. Give him his last match to be a world title, his career on the line. Have him loose, but have him give out his best.
Yeah.
It should be
Yeah.
called like the last rodeo.
He's the last outlaw.
Yeah.
So yeah, it could be the last
That's cool.
rodeo or my last show. You know?
The last show.
Yeah, it could be something. The last standoff.
Mhm.
There we
That
go.
too.
AEW, there goes
That'd be
one for you.
crazy if AEW tries to book it at dawn.
Yeah.
The last show happens at dawn. That'd be a crazy way to close it out.
Yep, we should get paid for that. Tony Cobb, you watching this, man?
Right here, you heard.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. January 19th at 1:29 a.m.
If
from
not,
DJ Rundown.
if not, at least send us some front row tickets. You
There you
know,
go.
I'll take that. Some popcorn. I'm a cheap date, so come on, make it happen.
At least give me a one and done with what's her face, the female wrestler with the black and white. What was her name? That's on AEW.
Oh, Tony Storms. I know
Tony
you're talking
Storm.
about.
Just
Yeah,
say
right.
hi. Just say hi.
I just wanted I like Sky Blue. Sky
there you
Blue.
I like to meet Thunder Rosa.
Yes.
She's great.
Oh hell
She's
yeah.
so down to earth, man.
Yeah,
I
she
like
is.
that.
Yeah, she's unfiltered, which is nice. You know, she'll tell you the truth. If
Right.
shit's going wrong, shit's going wrong. So let's just end this with one more subject.
Cool.
And this is a what if subject. So recently, Jeff Hardy came out in the interview and said a couple of words lately, throw out an interview, said some interesting. One interesting thing that he did mention was that if I kept myself clean and back in 08, I
Mhm.
could have been bigger than John Cena himself at that time. I just want to get your guys' opinion on this. I already have mine, but go ahead.
I'm gonna say one thing. I'm not a big Cena fan, you know that, but
Yeah.
But one thing I'm gonna give John Cena credit for:
Mhm.
charisma like a man.
Right.
He had great charisma. The thing that is different between Hardy and John Cena is the presentation itself.
Mhm.
Jeff Hardy had great matches, but can't really talk on the mic.
That's a given.
But he could put on his body on display, and I think that's what put him on drugs like crazy because of the pain he was in.
Probably. And then the stuff that, because they're in the interview, there was some
Yeah.
stuff he was going through too,
So
unfortunately.
I feel like the thing is, even if he wasn't doing, been on drugs or going through all that stuff, he didn't have the charisma he could have had that Cena had. So I feel like Jeff Hardy would have been in the role of probably Randy Orton.
Mhm.
Mhm.
He might have had a few movies here and there, but he wouldn't done what John Cena did.
Agreed. I would agree. I agree with old man on that part. Like yes, he was a fan favorite inside the arena. When you're in the arena, he would be the guy that you definitely would be cheering. You'll be with him doing what he's doing, loving the work that he does. But as far as crossing over to the entertainment biz, like John Cena has done and been successful at, it's hard to say he could have done because you're right. The charisma, the comfortability with other people and having those interactions and stuff like that, you could tell he just wasn't able even to do that, regardless of substance that derail that part. Just in general, person to person, you see him right now having that interview. It wasn't really like you could tell he was very just soft and
you got like two comments,
laxy daisy there and stuff like that at that moment. Yeah, TikTok ban. So it's like it's hard to sit there and say that he would have been that level. Fans would have loved him, no doubt, just as much as they love him now. It just those incidents wouldn't really be on his record for him to be like, I had a successful career type of standard. He's done great. He's done phenomenal for sure. It's just, I don't think he would have. You're right about the whole level as Randy Orton, respected around the arena, respected around the wrestling world.
Multiple world champions,
been able to be a tag team partner specifically with other people, being able to get himself involved in these other highlight type of matches.
Rumble win,
and winning a title.
Mania at least once or twice.
Well, let me
just respect it.
Let me argue with that. All right. So back in 2008, when he was world champion, he was actually out perch against John Cena by a lot. He was super over. And I get it. I get what you guys are saying. You guys do have a point. He couldn't cut a promo at that time. And let me get into that. So the guy, there's one thing the guy always had: natural charisma. And when he came out, when he was dancing, the crowd was always into him. The crowd was popping. Ladies, guys, that was uncommon when you have both sides, the ladies screaming for him and the guys cheering for him. You never see that in a wrestler. No. So it's crazy that the guy had already so much natural aura. But okay, so let's put it this way. The guy couldn't cut a promo at that time. But if you guys remember his TNA run, when he turned into a heel, the guy was a natural fucking heel, gifted. You hated this guy. This guy was playing the part really well and started learning how to cut a better promo during that run. Unfortunately, disasters strike multiple times, and we all know the story what happened in TNA. Had he stayed clean there, I think he would have developed even better because he was still young. The guy was still a young man learning the game, and he was getting better at it. And in TNA, he had all the type of right guys next to him. He had Hogan, he had Bischoff. Despite what you say about these guys know how to cut a promo. These guys know how to talk. I'm going to say, yes, he couldn't have been to John Cena's level, but I think he would have been a close second. I just think he did have a natural aura about him had he stayed clean. And I think eventually as he got older, he would have learned how to be a better heel, so to say. Because I don't know if you remember when he did return back. If he had his feud against The Undertaker. I think back in 08 too?
That was right before he left.
Right before he left. Let's be real. He did cut a promo too on The Undertaker, and it was really good.
It was phenomenal. And that's what made Undertaker respect him a lot. That's what made Undertaker give him that chance in the ring, one-on-one ladder match, me and you. Let's see what you got, kid. And sure enough, the one-on-one, that's what earned him the stripes. That's what showed that I'm not just here just for the highlights and the shows. I'm here to give you a story inside the ring as well as have that interaction one-on-one, and I could do this for a while.
Yeah, and then also he had his alternative wrestler, which would be Willow Hardy.
That was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Love that. I want to see more of that.
But that's the thing. He has a lot of good ideas. He just never gave himself the time due to him, unfortunately choosing the other way. The other path. I don't know. That's a tough one. That's like one of those what if scenarios. The biggest what if scenario.
I can see that. That could be in the WWE's or in the wrestling world. The what if.
Yeah.
Now we've been talking about WWE what ifs a lot.
Yeah.
The one thing that I could give Hardy would have been he would have had that edge, how Edge and Copeland now, Edge is build up. Edge is like popularity.
Yeah, it could have been that.
So it would have been kind of like how he said it under Cena, second to Cena, and it would have been probably Cena, Edge, and Hardy all on the same page with Punk.
Punk. If Punk would have stayed
True.
too, obviously, that's the thing. Those guys just had it.
It would have been that would have been a great run. You would have had Jeff Hardy, Cena, Randy, freaking what's it called, Punk,
Edge,
yep, and Batista at the time. You know, like he was in the realm with those guys too as well.
Yeah.
Brock was already gone, so you would have Batista being the powerhouse kind of a guy in that crew.
Yeah.
So that would have been your 6, right? Solid there at one time.
Yeah.
Like RVD, if I'm not mistaken, around that realm as well.
Well, RVD messed up too, though, a lot.
But that just a great phenomenal. He was in the mix of all that and kind of separated himself of being different from them two as well. Which was
that's the thing. It's like when he left WWE back in 2005, and then eventually we saw in TNA, that kind of pushed TNA up a bit because I personally would watch TNA.
For the younger generation.
I personally watched TNA because of Jeff Hardy. I was like, oh shit, Jeff Hardy's there. That's my favorite wrestler. I gotta watch TNA.
Then became Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
When he came on board, I was like, bro, 2 of my favorite wrestlers at one time. Let's go.
And then eventually when he left, I still went back to watch TNA because he returned, and his heel run was, to me, one of the greatest heel runs in TNA history. Mm-hmm. I think the guy had the gift if he applied to it.
Yeah.
But just like I said, unfortunately, he had
other things going on.
Yeah. And that's like, that's just, to me, it's what isn't the what if. I mean, you may not agree. Maybe he would have never been as big as John Cena, but I think he would have been close second.
Really, at least. Like, there's no doubt about that. He could have reached a great solid of height for sure. And I think we're thinking about now currently just because we know where John Cena is.
And there's one thing that he had over Cena. He was a better wrestler.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Hey,
natural.
A lot more moves, being able to willing to do other things and just move outside the ring just as much as himself inside the ring.
And way better storyteller in the ring. Like look at back when he competed against Edge for the world title.
Oh yeah, CM Punk.
Against CM Punk in the world title picture. Randy Orton.
That
Hell in a Cell match.
Matt Hardy.
Because he wanted to face him in Hell in a Cell. Matt Hardy.
And that's the thing. And imagine if they would have kept his brother around. And we all know that Matt Hardy is one of the smartest guys in the business to reinvent himself constantly.
I think they dropped the ball on that one because he went to TNA. And in TNA is when he created that Broken Hardy character.
Yes.
When they brought him back, they kind of messed that whole thing up. He became Woken Hardy. Then we finally became Broken Hardy.
But don't forget, that was all legal action too.
But here's the thing, though. WWE's been dropping the ball with Matt Hardy because you had version 1. You had Matt Hardy Never Dies. You had so many versions of them. Mm-hmm. And then even AEW has their version of Money Matt.
Yeah.
The guy was smart. The guy is gifted. The guy's like Jericho in a way. Could reinvent himself. He has wrestling business knowledge. Had he kept both brothers around, they could have strived off of one another. Yeah.
I mean, he made Matt Hardy an ECW champion.
Yeah.
If they would have kept the ECW going for that time, Matt Hardy could have been a multiple ECW champion. Built up good story back there. Probably reunite the brothers here and there if they needed. Mm-hmm. But I think Matt Hardy could have also been a world champion in WWE, like he said. He had everything, all the things to be a world champion.
I mean, the guy.
Matt was a better talker.
Oh, too. Dude, Matt Hardy was just better promo overall, man. The guy was also gifted, man. It's unfortunate. I mean, the guys grew up in wrestling, loving wrestling since they were little. They idolize it, and it shows. It really does. I mean, we make fun of them because now they're old. They can't wrestle as good. You know, sometimes they're a little more slower in the ring, but this is in their passion. It's in their blood. It's hard for them to say, we're done with this. No wrestler wants to say that.
Right. No. Yeah. You got Rey Mysterio still going.
That motherfucker old too, man.
He needs to go. Yeah. He's already in the Hall of Fame, man. Just go ahead and go.
Just go home.
But it's in their blood. It's hard.
Look at Ric Flair. I mean, he's still trying to. Ric Flair was still trying to put the boots on.
Go back in the ring again. Did he cut a promo later?
I got one more.
Nah, get out of here.
So Jared's like, come on, man. I just gave you your one more.
You got one more just walking down the ramp and just waving at the crowd.
Yeah, one more heart attack.
Flair Flair honestly would have been if it came back to WWE or anything.
Yeah.
Just be a manager again.
That's all you gotta do. That's all you need to do for a
Because
while.
he
It's
doesn't
it's
have
hard
to
for him to
wrestle.
do because he's like, no,
Unstable.
let me get in there.
Mhm.
Hit me. Like, no, old man. Like, no,
Just
we're
stay
not
out of the
doing that.
ring.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's
Or
up
be,
with the old man complex, old man? Like, don't y'all just want to sit down and be quiet
Well,
and
you
relax
can't-
somewhere?
You can't retire an old man. Look at George Foreman.
Oh,
When he had that itch that, you know what? I still got to be a world
but
champion one more time.
he made a point, though. He
Well,
made a point.
like I said, man, that's the what if scenarios here, man.
Well, the
go.
biggest what if scenario for me would have been if Eddie Guerrero never passed away, what his life would have been like right now.
Yeah.
I feel like, of course, we would have had that match against Shawn Michaels.
Mm-hmm.
That would have happened. But I feel like by now, Eddie Guerrero's main, like if he would have not passed, I think Eddie Guerrero would have headlined one of the Hall of Fames.
Right.
So I feel that's something we're missing is that's a good what if scenario, kind of like Owen Hart.
Well, I mean, it's like Owen Hart. It's like Bret Hart never got injured.
Bret Hart
What if
never
Kurt
left.
Angle never left WWE too, or did the
TNA?
drugs?
Yeah.
Could. There's a lot of what ifs. Maybe we'll get onto one episode one day about this. You know,
We should do like a one if segment every time.
Yeah. Well, that could be
On
a good
every
scenario.
episode, like a
Oh,
one
there you
if
go.
segment.
Yeah, there we go. Maybe we'll start doing that weekly. Yeah. They got a lot of what ifs in wrestling.
Yeah.
And
What
that's
if
never
Steve
gonna
Williams came to WWE earlier?
Yeah.
That's
That's will be some shit. Now we'll probably pick up some segments here and there with that. But overall though, man, that's been your report. Thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate it so much. This has been Windy City Savage signing off. Have yourself a peaceful night.